Ka-chow!
Hey! We're recording the podcast! Shut up!
Good morning to you, wherever you are, because it is somewhere for June 3rd, 2024. My name is Bernie Burns, sitting right over there. She's got a lot to talk about today. It's Ashley. Also, I gotta say, don't take her for granted. She's not going to be here for a while. This is Ashley's last podcast.
Makes it sound very dire.
Yeah, that sounded a little bit. That sounded more aggressive.
It sounded sinister. Yeah, you got to watch yourself there.
Ashley will not be on the podcast for the next week-ish. For the rest of this week, she will not be on the podcast.
Yes, and that is because we will be separated. So you will have some guests on.
You gotta keep them separated. Yeah. So I have a lot. I'll have some guests on, which is it's always fun to coordinate. But we'll see.
But it can be tricky. So who knows? If you know what, tell you what. If there's an emergency, I'll hop on. We will even chat.
Let me ask you a question. On a scale of 1 to 10, how much will you miss me? On a scale of honesty 1 to 10, I want about a 9 on this. How much will you miss me?
It's going to be a 7 or an 8. I am being abandoned with 5 children. So
there's a lot of kids here.
So
there's a lot of family in the house.
That has something to do with it. It's a lot of pressure. It's a lot of people to keep alive.
We've gotten to where we don't call the older crew. We call them the crew. We don't call them the kids.
Yeah, it doesn't feel right because when we refer to the kids now, we mean the little ones.
Yeah.
And everyone else is like, I mean, because they're adults.
Yeah, and leeches didn't feel very so we decided on the crew. The crew. So Ashley will not be here. Maybe one of the crew can step in and say hi.
Yeah, well, we will this week. Bear with us. Things will be a little bit different than usual.
No, don't bear with us. High expectations.
Expectations.
Hold our feet to the fire.
It's going to be great.
Double down.
It's going to be awesome.
All right, the lightning round drop played today. We played that quite a few times, but I never used it as the front end drop because there's so much stuff to talk about that happened this weekend.
There is. So let's get into it. The one is this actually happened last week, kind of, but we didn't talk about it.
Happened late
late last week, and that is Netflix is doubling down on video games.
That was like a theme that developed over the course of the week.
It did. So earlier in the week, I want to say it's some like Wednesday-ish, they put out a teaser trailer that Netflix is going to have an animated Minecraft series. They didn't date it or anything, so we don't know when that's coming exactly.
It was just like the Netflix logo, and that was it, right?
So it was very, very vague. So I feel like that one's a little bit further out, but they wanted to have an announcement for some kind of event. It might have been for a Minecraft event.
We're having a bit of a crisis in our house because our kid has discovered Minecraft YouTube videos. Oh boy. Yeah, we're trying to cut that off.
It is a challenge. You know how it is with a little kid, they tend to hyper focus on things. And
how did he find Minecraft videos? Like when? I can't remember. I
think it was accidental. I mean, I've had him watch video games before. A while ago we were playing Pikmin, and then he would in this very like hyper focused way that he would just constantly want to play Pikmin. Constantly. Also, he's not a great cheerleader because he'd be like, "Wow, Mom, that was really bad."
We should also be clear here. We're talking about JD, who's 22. Crazy. But it is with parenting, it's what I call the Superman problem. Superman has a problem in that Superman always has to bat 1,000, right? Because the villains want to destroy the world. So if Superman ever messes up one time, that's it.
World ended.
Done.
There you go.
So they have an end game. They have a goal. Superman really doesn't. He's just got to like keep them at bay from getting their goal. Parenting the same way. You got to keep that up like 100% all the time. If you let a little crack, a little bit of daylight, they go right for it. They know. There must have been some moment where it was like, okay, I'll let him watch this Minecraft. He likes to play Minecraft. We'll let him watch a Minecraft video. And then it's like stars in his eyes.
And then down the rabbit hole. And now it's 100 days on one chunk or whatever challenge he's into at the moment. He's like, oh, no, look, Lucky Blocks. I don't know what Lucky Blocks are.
And we're trying to wean him.
He's talking about about the Ender Dragon. I'm like, kid, I've never even seen the end.
I know. I feel like that kind of ruined, like, as we were playing Minecraft, I feel like now the videos have short-circuited it. And I feel like he's less interested in playing it than he is in watching someone else play it.
Well, and part of that is because, as we've explained to him, the Minecraft that he's watching is not regular Minecraft. Those challenges that he thinks are so funny are modded to hell. They're it's a cut down to an hour from something that must be like 100-hour project. It's not.
By the way,
it's not indicative of an actual gaming experience.
Should we pause for a moment and acknowledge the extreme hypocrisy of us not wanting him? So we get it. That's not lost on us.
Slight difference. He's 4. Okay?
We know how damaging it can be. We suppress the studies.
We were behind it all the whole time.
Now it's like, and then you got to watch each one because I don't trust, the people playing Minecraft are going to be safe. So I got to watch the videos with him, which is a special kind of torture. So we're weaning him off of those things. Like, it's like he got in and he got, like, it wasn't like he built up to an addiction. It was like, boom, from the first frame, he's like, I get exactly what this is. This is like watching someone play Minecraft. It's like I'm playing Minecraft but without moving. To be fair, that's what he was doing with me the whole time anyway. He was gremlining on my shoulder.
He would basically perch on the top of your chair and instruct you in great detail to blow up the whole mountain.
Anyway, we had all this stuff to talk about. We got off a tangent already. So now we're in that phase where clearly video games are it. They're starting to mine all the properties. There's like 2 Tomb Raider things going on as well as 2 Minecraft things.
Yeah, so that was the other thing that Netflix announced is Friday afternoon, they announced that they're going to be doing a Tomb Raider animated series. And that's in addition to the Tomb Raider, I think, live action series that Amazon is doing with Phoebe Waller-Bridge.
Now, have we talked about this before? Because she was basically, they keep trying to put out a new Indiana Jones. Like they tried with Shia LaBeouf. They tried with River Phoenix back in the day. And now they tried with Phoebe Waller-Bridge. She's in the new Dial of Destiny.
Yeah.
And now she's going off and being in the Tomb Raider franchise.
Well, okay, so
did someone ever say to her, like, hey, I know we didn't explicitly say
like, don't do that, but like, here's the thing. I'm not actually sure that she's going to be in this Amazon series. She's been tapped as the executive producer and writer, but it says nothing yet that she will necessarily star in the series.
Give me a break.
I don't know. Maybe there may be something in a contract being like, hey, if you're in Indiana Jones, you gotta pick.
Maybe they're negotiating that right now.
I gotta say though, at this point, Amazon's got to be feeling pretty optimistic if they can manage, based on the hit they got out of Fallout, if they can get Tomb Raider to hit, which is not necessarily a guarantee, but I think if they do it right, it would be a good, fun, cool series. If they can, do that, they're going to be head and shoulders above everyone else, right?
Honestly, I just bring back Angelina Jolie again. Why not?
She was so good.
She's so good.
She was the perfect Lara Croft.
Do you think it'll be the new Tomb Raider? Like the Redux one, the revamped one? Which, by the way, was called Tomb Raider?
I don't know. I believe the animated series that Netflix is doing is a follow-on to the Survivor trilogy, which I think is the ones that the most recent games that have been done, the sort of prequels, but I'm not 100% sure on that.
I don't know my Tomb Raider, I have to admit. I don't know that, and I don't know my Uncharted. I think I played Uncharted 4, and that was it.
Yeah, but you know what? It's a great genre.
Yeah.
It's a great genre, whether it's Indiana Jones, whether it's Uncharted, whether it's Tomb Raider. Those sort of like high-flying adventures that are also involve like finding an abandoned tomb that somehow every bad guy in the world found before you.
Archaeology. You know how different archaeologists' actual lives are to what Indiana Jones and Tomb Raider do?
It belongs in a museum.
I mean, I wonder how many archaeologists spend their entire life to find like one decent fossil, It's gotta be a long process to find it.
Well, actually, speaking of, Bernie, fossils and stealing stuff,
Mike Tyson dropped out of his fight.
I was going to go somewhere different.
I know you were going to talk about Monaco.
I was going to talk about Monaco.
Yeah.
Just see there was
Let's talk about Mike Tyson first. So
okay,
Mike Tyson.
okay, we'll talk about Mike Tyson.
He has dropped out of, or
rescheduled.
they have postponed the fight because Mike Tyson had a medical emergency on a plane, which afterwards he said it was okay. But now it turns out it was an ulcer, and he's got medical advice that he should not be fighting. So they're postponing or rescheduling the fight for a later date.
And they have not yet announced when that is going to be. This is, if you have not been paying attention, the Mike Tyson Jake Paul fight that was scheduled for July 20th. It was going to be a whole big Netflix event.
I thought ulcers were gone. Like that was like every dude in the 80s, every old guy who like worked in construction, like walking around on steel beams.
They all had ulcers.
They all had ulcers, bad backs, hernias as well, and sciatica. Like if I hear any of those afflictions, I always think of a dude from like the 80s.
It's like the Infinity Gauntlet of construction workers.
Like the guy who comes in, in the front door, takes off the hard hat and hangs on the coat rack and goes, that guy from the sitcom. But I hope Mike Tyson recovers well. I'm glad to hear that he is not going to take any chances because I couldn't imagine taking a fucking body shot from a dude. Jake Paul's big dude,
what, 30 years younger?
Yeah, and taking a body shot with an ulcer, an active ulcer.
Yeah, you still think he's going to kill Jake Paul?
What's that?
You still think he's going to kill Jake Paul, or are you cooling on that?
Man, I'm cooling out a little bit. Maybe I was buying in a little bit to the Mike Tyson of yesteryear. The lore, the Mike Tyson of my memory.
The good old days when ulcers were ulcers and men were men.
Yeah, so God, he's just such a monster of a person. You ever seen his neck workout that he would do in his prime?
Dude has a neck workout?
I'll have to show it to you. I can't possibly describe it. Like other people like attach like a weight to their head and like move their neck back and forth. He lays in the middle of the ring, supports like a plank, but with his head as the point instead of his elbows, and then rolls his head around while he's supported by his own head. It's frightening to watch him do it.
He would just headbutt a tiger or something like that.
Yeah, and then apparently goes out and drinks like 4 gallons of Pepto-Bismol. No, seriously, I hope he's better. And I guess if you want to raise the stakes of the Jake Paul Mike Tyson fight, if it eventually happens, you kind of got to go in on like kind of like the ridicule, like your tummy hurts, sorry Mike. There was an interview. I was like, Mike Tyson's probably not going to kill Jake Paul, but then some reporter got up and asked Jake Paul and said, "Hey, Jake, you keep talking about you're one of the greatest fighters in the world. When are you going to have a fight that's not a gimmick? When you're not going to like play, be boxing some gimmick opponent?" And Mike Tyson goes, "Did you just call me a gimmick?" Like you could see it in his eyes. I was like, there it is. There it is.
He started Mad Dog.
Yeah, a little bit. And I'm telling you, man, if somebody's just in the crowd goes, "Hey, Mike, you suck." That's it. That's it, man. I think he's still got it in him. I really do. I'm holding that hope.
Maybe this is actually a 2-on-1 fight. It's ulcers and Jake Paul against Mike Tyson.
Look, Jake Paul's favored, so if I was ever going to lay down some money, now's a chance. Do it. All right, but going on to other fossils, Monaco.
Yes. Okay. So I'm so excited about this. This is ridiculous.
What's your fossil reference here? Is it the mask or is it the watch?
It's watches. Fossil
watches. I don't think there were any fossil watches in the Monaco jewelry store.
Do you know what a fossil's worth? At least $40.
This jewelry store had the most uncreative name I've ever seen in my life.
What was the name?
The name of the jewelry store is the Monaco Jewelry Company or something like that.
Well, it is very evocative. If you were to tell me, I would know exactly what it was. What to expect to find in that store. So
they could have called it like "Watch Your Back." So tell us what happened at the Monaco jewelry store.
Okay, so someone dressed as an old man holding a cane rolled up to the Monaco Watch Company.
That's it, the Monaco Watch Company. That's what it's called.
And basically, this is the not funny part. He took out a gun and threatened the shop assistant and made off with what is currently estimated to be about 3 million euros worth of watches. So lots of fossils.
Yeah.
And then made off on a scooter.
There was a point in time, you do those conversions in your head. There was a point in time just recently where the euro was below the US dollar. It was on parity and then went below it for a little while.
Oh, that's right. It did. Is it back up?
It is. I mean, just from memory, I'm going to say I can look it up right here, but I think it's about $1.10 at this point, maybe like $1.15. I'll look it up and I'll tell you. So this guy got away. He took off. There was something about a spray that he used.
Yes.
A spray.
So
He had some kind of spray.
It was part of his foolproof getaway plan. So this is from the Monaco Tribune. According to BFM Nice Côte d'Azur, the robber
nailed
used,
that. Good job, babe.
Thank you. A spray to cover his tracks, then escaped on a scooter parked further away where an accomplice was waiting for him. They fled in the direction of Beausoleil.
Oh, well, if you're in Beausoleil, be
out,
on the lookout.
Watch out for an old man on a scooter.
By this old man outfit, Euro, by the way, is currently at this point, according to Xe.com, is worth $1.08.
Okay.
8.5 cents over the dollar right now.
So that's even so, this is going to be a lot of watches. Although watches are one of those weird things, right? That they are a predictor in weird trends, like consumer trends or something.
There's a couple of different categories of consumer products, and art's one of them as well. Like if the economy's, like if people are losing faith in the economy, suddenly prices on art and watches go up because the rich are like putting their money in things that are even more non-traditional than like just cash and things like that. So if you start to see things that are like hard assets start to go up in value, it's one of the indicators they say for something could be in the works.
So you got to wonder what the old man thief is onto.
Well, I just think it's one of those things you can move, right? If you can reach into a case, grab an armful of stuff, it's actually, if you think about it, there aren't many things that are worth more than cash by volume. Does that make sense?
Yeah, or like by weight or something.
Like
right?
if I was going to hold 3 million euros, euros are different though, because I think there's like a 1,000 euro note. The highest note in the US is 100. What's the biggest denomination of the euro?
According to a quick Google, 500 euro is the biggest. 7 different denominations of euro banknotes: 5, 10, 20, 50, 100, 200, and 500.
So, if you think about like what it would take to grab 3 million euros at the most of like 500 euro notes, it's a lot of volume.
Lot.
Whereas watches,
a lot more than watches.
And plus, you can just all put them on one big arm. shoop, shoop.
You'll always know what time it
Go
is.
racing off. Down the thing. And I don't know. I'm sure they have some kind of security thing built into watches these days, modern watches. But who knows if these were even modern watches? You know what I mean?
Right. One of the things that makes them valuable could be that they're not modern.
No. Yeah. So anyway, it's a heist that's 3 million euros. I'm sure there was lots of insurance. They specifically called out in this article you sent me, Ash, that the female employee was taken to the hospital. She wasn't injured, but she was very badly shaken, which I'm sure anybody would be in that.
Yes,
in that situation.
as one would be, certainly. But I'm glad that she is okay. I just think that someone like dressing up as an old man and heisting a store is, from, once again, as these things tend to be, from a distance is funny.
Yeah. The good news is Jake Paul tried to sign him as a new opponent. Like, that guy looks super fucking old. I can fight that guy.
I could take him. I could take this one.
Can you imagine too? It's like you're on the lookout for this guy, and it's like the mask is gone, and it's just a young guy on the street, and it's like you walk up to it, it's just like tick 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 tick.
If they're 3 million euro worth of watches too, they're probably immaculately maintained and synced up to the second, so they might even tick and sync.
They would be just one super loud tick every second, and that's it. All right. While we're talking about very timely things, the Starliner mission was scrubbed just before they were all set to take off.
Less than 4 minutes to go.
The 2 astronauts were strapped in, and they tried to boot the computers. And one of the 3 computers had a slow response, and so they scrubbed the mission.
Yes.
And so this was after they had a scrub earlier in May for the faulty oxygen valve. But then there was a weird interim too where there was a helium leak in.
But they were going to go ahead with that one anyway. They said that was
well
not,
within tolerances and everything like that.
And then there was another thing during this countdown where they lost data from the liquid oxygen and hydrogen valves and had to switch to a backup. Didn't delay it to the point that they weren't going to make this flight, but then they ended up having the computer issue as well.
Yeah, and then some old dude on a scooter drove by and goes, "Your clocks are wrong." He stole the countdown clock.
He stole the extra 10 seconds they needed.
Son of a bitch. Get that guy. He headed for Beausoleil. Beat him there.
Get him.
But so they scrubbed this, and it does seem like this thing is plagued with problems, but it's only 2 scrubs so far. Technically, it's 2 scrubs because Boeing is so much in the news and is, this thing is going to space, and it's the first time astronauts a live crew has gone up on this particular vessel. I think it's a bigger, more reportable deal. It's only 2 scrubs. So I went and looked up, like, what is the record for the most scrubbed launches? And it's a space shuttle mission from 1995. It's actually tied. STS-73 from October of 1995 is tied with STS-61C. The launch for STS-73 was originally scheduled for September 25th, 1995, but it endured 6 scrubbed launch attempts before its 20 October 1995 liftoff. It ties with 61C. Both carry the distinction of being tied for the most scrub launches, each having launched on their 7th attempt.
All right, so we got a couple more scrubs to go before we get anywhere near the record for this one. I believe the next launch attempt window, the next possible launch, is later this week. So we'll see if the Starliner gets up in the sky this week.
Well, the interesting thing was, too, they had another opportunity to do it yesterday on Sunday, and they just decided not to do it. There was another window that they had, and they just skipped over one. So does that count as a scrub? I guess not.
I would guess not. If they didn't, like, if you don't even start preparing, if you don't start the countdown and all that stuff, I'm not going to call it a scrub.
So I had to look up.
I give you a pass on that one.
I had to look up, space shuttle program is from the 80s, so I had to look up what STS means, why they designate the space shuttle missions as STS. And actually, Mike Tyson was involved with that, too. It's space shuttle. What does it mean? What is STS-73? It is space STS. It's space time, suckers. It stands for Space Transportation System. Well, that's underwhelming.
That's not nearly as exciting as the other ones that you came up with.
That and the Monaco Watch Company or whatever it was. Yeah, it's all creative names today. What are you going to do? So Starliner is still having problems, but it's tough. Going to space is hard. Go figure. You know what I mean?
And look, you can. The fact that they had the reason this one was scrubbed was because of the one of 3 computers was slow to check in. Not saying that it didn't pass its checks, but it was slow to respond and get the green light, and so it called it. The fact that they have the triple, sort of like a triple check, is comforting. Look, anyone who's had a PC on for too long knows that these things can sometimes get bogged down. You just turn it off and on again, and you're good to go.
I'd say just kick it and see what happens. So, is it a real quote from Miyamoto about a game is late until it comes out, but a game that's bad is bad forever?
I'm not sure if that's a real quote or if that's one of those ones that's entered sort of like urban mythology.
Right, and maybe he just never said it. But we were talking about the Columbia disaster just last week. No one's going to remember the fact that they scrubbed 2 launches. Nobody even remembers the fact that these space shuttle missions had scrubbed 6. You know what I mean? What people remember is when they don't follow the safety protocols and astronauts die, or a mission has some kind of catastrophic failure. That's what people remember, So, take their time, get it right, and get them up there safely and get them back safely.
Yeah, so as far as I can tell, the Miyamoto quote is attributed to 1995 from working on Ocarina of Time, but no, everyone has a very difficult time actually finding the origin of the quote.
Yeah, it was one of those things where everyone quoted that forever, and then finally somebody realized no one could find a source for when this was actually said.
You know what, though? Screw it. It's a good quote.
It is a good quote.
He can have it.
Yeah. He was talking about, games being a long time in development, and the quote that was attributed to him, which is still a great quote, a game that is late is only late until it comes out. And a game that's bad is bad forever. So take your time and get it right, and when it's late, no one will remember that it was late.
Yeah, of course, this does predate all of the updates that we now get for games all the time.
That is true. Yeah, games don't stay bad forever, right?
Right. Yeah. Now give it a couple years and it'll be beloved.
It's true. I mean, the games do. I don't like the fact that games can launch lousy, but I do like the fact that games get fixed.
I do as well, and it's hard to throw too much about that. But look,
I wonder if that comes back to bite developers in the ass a little bit, because you have this dynamically changing library of games. Like this will be updated. They might put out a patch for this, or they have some kind of event celebration now.
Yeah, or the flip side being that everything is a live service game, and they will stop working when the servers go down.
All right, anything else to talk about before we call it and we don't see you for a week, Ashley?
Just that this is going to be kind of a wild and crazy week, so should be fun. Everyone look forward to that. I'd also like to say thank you to our sponsors today, Buggy52 and Hanshin Lu. Thank you both for sponsoring this episode of Morning Somewhere.
All right. Thank you both very much. All right. I will be back to talk to you tomorrow. I hope you'll be here as well.
See you, suckers.